What's going on, guys? Super excited for this episode. Today, we're going to talk about cash flow and inventory management. So Cory, with his FortifyRS inventory management system, is going to be dropping a lot of knowledge and how to streamline inventory so you can cut shipping costs, and more importantly, from owners to salesperson to operations and all the way down to your installations, everything runs smooth. His system's amazing. Let's jump into it. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another amazing episode of Beyond the Crete podcast. As you guys know, we are focused on business growth and business development, and you will probably recognize this face because we have had Cory from LS Concrete Coatings on before to talk about customer experience, 5-star reviews, and how important they are, and how he achieves them to get referrals, which of course cuts down marketing costs. Now, that is one aspect of the business and business growth, but one of the main challenges that Cory has seen in the past, and what I see from a lot of our customers, is inventory management. So when we start talking about maximizing your dollars, right, shipping cost, and making sure that you're not running out of products and overnight shipping, this is the episode for you guys. So without further delay, please welcome Cory Pollard from LS Concrete Coatings to this episode.
Hey, thanks for having me on again, Pete.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure. So real quick, kind of give your 2-minute bio, who you are, kind of what we're going to get into.
Yeah, so my name's Cory. I've been in the concrete coating business for, I guess, about 7 years now. Kind of getting into the point where it's hard to remember how long it's been now, right? Like, got several 100,000 square feet underneath me, and gone through a lot of the trials and just the ups and downs that everybody goes through. So we've learned a lot over the time, but right now we've got the business, the LS Concrete Coatings. I've been running it for about 3.5 years. Started a business before that, ran production and training and did all the ordering and everything from that. So the real life experience is there as far as what we're leading into for today.
Right on. And that's what I want to get into. So again, as everybody knows, we kind of talk about 3 main things: past, present, and future. Okay. So I don't want to dive in too much into the past because that's going to lead in right into what we talk about with the present, right? So if you talk about your past and inventory management, right? So like when you first started off, at least in this industry, what was it like for inventory management? What'd you do? Was it physical counts? And like, how did it come to today, the present of what we're about to talk about?
It was a lot of notebooks, a lot of pen and paper. I know for us, one of the big things for us is accuracy. You led in really well in the beginning with the fact that, we talked about last time about reputation. Well, one of the things that can affect your reputation, in my opinion, is you always hear about people complain about, yeah, we hired a contractor. They never showed up, or they showed up, they got halfway through, they left for 2 weeks, still haven't come back to finish it. Things like that. It's if you want to have a really good reputation and you want to appear to know what you're doing, right? Like, hey, we show up on the day that we said we're going to show up. We do what we said we're going to do. We accomplish everything we set out to accomplish, and the homeowner or the client is on the same page, right? Like, if you can do that, then you're winning. You're winning, because referral is the best kind of marketing. It is the cheapest marketing you can do, and it's probably one of the easiest things to screw up. Very important on that note is, if you don't have the right stuff, or you don't have enough, or you don't prepare correctly, or I hear a lot of people say this lately, if you don't math well,
Good way to put it.
Then you either have to stock an exorbitant amount of product that is going to tie up your capital, or you're either going to do that, or you're going to have a situation in which you're running out, or you're constantly doing like what I used to do. I like to keep it kind of thin. I mean, we're fortunate in an industry that the products that we use have variable speed rates, right? So we can use a different version of each product during the colder, warmer, and hot months. So if we want to keep our material fresh and we don't want to have something sitting back stagnant, inventory to me has always been extremely important for that, because say you don't ever want to run out, so you overstock. Okay, you've got the capital to do so. You've got $100,000-$200,000 worth of product sitting on your wall. That's awesome. But we all know chemical has a shelf life.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're ordering it and then say your projections for the year either weren't as good as you thought they were going to be or whatever, and then you start getting old product, well, why would you ever want to have the conversation with yourself of, man, I know this product is past its shelf life, but it costs a lot of money. I think we're going to go ahead and use it anyway. It's one of those things that the customers don't know that you're doing it or not, but you know that you're doing it. So, to me, inventory management is super important. Like, you can keep your numbers where they need to be, keep your materials where they need to be, being able to have a function of, yes, now we've got it in the warehouse and now we've got crews going out on jobs. Well, having an opportunity for them to not have to think about it, they're checking it off on a list that's already pre-calculated for them. You're punching that reputation in the face. It's like, come at me. I've got it. You know what I mean? It's like, I've got all the weapons and it's flowing, and having a way to take out the human element. I mean, when I was doing them by paper, oh my God. I mean, okay, this material, it's got to go down first. It's 300 square foot per gallon. Maybe it's a little bit more porous. It's 250, 275 square feet per gallon. Okay, but I've got that color goes with these jobs because they've got this color flake. And then these color flake go with this color material. And then, but this one's going to be an indoor job. So it's going to be, kind of a summer based material. This one's going to be an outside job. That's going to be a hotter material, right? Like this one's going to be in food prep room. So it's going to be the colder material. And now you're trying to sort all this crap out on paper and keep the math calculations and making sure they're taking the right stuff. Like, was I able to do it? Absolutely. I love math, but like I said, it still took so much time to keep it, you know what I mean? Just keeping it right there on point. It's like, why, if there's so much technology out here and available to us, why spend the time potentially screwing up, especially when, you hit on another thing, shipping. Holy crap. Shipping's gotten expensive, right? So if shipping is going to be as expensive as it's going to be, then, one of the things that we want to do is we want to make sure we're ordering in volumes that they capitalize on a full pallet, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you don't want to order a partial pallet, or you don't want to have to overnight something just because you accidentally forgot something. Overnighting, you know this, you know what I'm talking about. Overnighting 10 gallons worth of product just to make a deadline, that's a hit. Huge. When it could have just been sitting out there on your shelves.
Yeah. And that's what I want to dig into. Okay, so guys, he just hit a lot on the past, right? So it's pretty common for obviously pen and paper, right? It works great for me to take notes right now, but it's not necessarily going to work when you want to calculate how to run your business. We are in 2023, about to hit 2024, and there's a lot of technology out there. So what were you doing to bring you into what we're about to get into, right? So like, when you start talking about inventory management, what did you do? What did you create? What are we about to look at?
Oh, absolutely. So the quick version of kind of from pen and paper to where we are now is when I was working for the previous company, it was all about pen and paper just because everything was kind of done kind of that old school way, we really hadn't transitioned into the technology side of things. When I started my own business, and then you realize, okay, hey, we're just starting out, right? A bunch of you guys out there know what I'm talking about. Like, it's on me. I don't have the company backing me up. It's on me. I've got to do my orders. I've got to do my hiring. I've got to sell my jobs. I've got to install my jobs. I've got to, right? And so, when you sit there and you look at all that, it's like, dude, I don't have time for all this crap. Like,
Yeah.
I just don't have the time to handle all this. So, what I did was, I knew that Excel spreadsheets were amazing things. Didn't know jack about them, nothing.
Yeah.
I sat down and I remember staying up all night because I needed no distraction. So it's like, wife and kids are asleep. I've got no phone calls coming in. And I remember staying up several nights in a row to get to a point to where I built a spreadsheet that, honestly, I've had other people, ask me about, man, can you get me one of those?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that thing's amazing, right? Like, you would put in the color, you had drop down tables, you had all these cool little selection features. And it was kind of one of those things originally. I was just going to give it away. That's apparently, I just like giving things away, which is not good for business. And so my right hand guy that's with me here, Michael, him and my wife, they were just like, dude, this thing's amazing. Like put some money behind it, build it out into a system where people can actually use it and benefit from it, right? Like, if they can use it and they can benefit from it, they'll pay for it. But it's like, yeah, making money is good, but getting something out, like my spreadsheet was never built in a manner to where I knew how to make it to where I could send it out and it not break on people.
Sure.
With the system that we've developed, after having a little bit of the inspiration to push forward and actually make it something, the system is very strong. It's very solid. It's got some really key features that make things a lot quicker to adjust on the fly. For instance, I'm sure nobody's ever had this happen before. We had one happen a couple of weeks ago. You keep watching the weather, and so you're trying to order material that's good for the time, right? Because if we order the material that's for the right temperature, our cure times are correct, which is great for the floor, but it's also great for hours,
Labor.
right? You've got you have a material that's going to take 2.5 hours to cure over lunchtime. Well, now you've got guys sitting out there, and depending on how you do your pay, you're probably taking care of your guys, but you're getting no benefit, no return on it, right? And we definitely need that return. So when you have a cold front come in, it's easy to go in the system and just, hey, okay, starting from this date moving down, we're changing the speed on all of our chemicals. Let's see where we're at. And to be able to go through, click and select all those, change them over, and then immediately have the result of we're in trouble or we're fine. Both of those are great, right? Because at least it's an answer and you can move forward with that information. So, it's all about efficiency, trying to make it a super quick thing to use. One of my big things is, and I always tell this when I'm onboarding people, I'm like, okay, so you need to understand you're going to feel like you're not spending very much time in here, but that's the design. That's the purpose. You're only supposed to have to open it up, update the information real quick, hit refresh or whatever, look at it. And then that way your information is at a glance. I know exactly what I need to know. We're good for the next 2 to 4 weeks. We're good on this. We're good on this. And that way you can get back to doing everything else, right? You shouldn't have to use this for a ton of time and be involved in it for so long that you're like, I'm trying to get my money out of it. Your money is by not being in there. Your money is by all of it being accomplished and being handled, and you being able to be at your daughter's softball game, right? Be at your son's soccer game, be at your wife's, whatever she's got going on. Like my wife, she's an assistant principal, right? So she's always got functions going on. I'm trying to help out with the kids, make sure they're all taken care of. Just being there for each other, right? It's not about living to work. It's working to live. So that's the whole point of this system, was to free up my time initially. And now hopefully to help free up time for everyone else out there that interests them.
Right, right. And everybody watches this, anybody that knows me, I'm all about efficiency on the installation side of things, right? So that's how we teach and train on installation, but we're going to dive into it. Okay. And again, what Cory just said is efficiency and time management. So you're not out, yeah, pen and paper sucks. And now we're going to be in technology, but your time, you'll never get your time back. And people don't value your time like you should. So if you look at time management and what that actually cost most companies in wasted time in counting inventory and all this shit, because trust me, we do it here. This is where the benefit. So Cory's got full access to share screen and get into it right now. So guys, I want him to just pretty much take it over for the next little bit and talk about the system and how it can benefit you guys.
Right. So we're gonna bounce right in here. So with this system, what you're gonna wind up having is you basically have a dashboard. It's the 10,000 foot view, right, of everything that's going on with your inventory, your customers, your jobs that are scheduled. Currently right here, what we've got is this is just a simple little demo company that I make up, right, just to kind of show off what this thing can do. Currently it's showing that we've got 15 flake floors. We've got one, I was just adding these in last night, flake floor with grit. So if you wanted to actually track like Pete, I know you guys carry track bite. Just for those of you that don't know what track bite is, just the additive that goes in the surface of your final coat to give them a little bit of traction, right? So if you wanted to track that, you can have that added in. We've also got a shop floor system. So it's going to be like a base coat, full broadcast of sand. Then it's going to go into 2 tinted top coats. Okay. So when we're looking at these, what you'll notice is we've got install dates are going to go so you can keep track, see the order of everything. You've got customer information. If you've got everything keyed in, you can actually highlight over it, see more detailed information if you would like. You've got the area labeled, so pull deck, garage, shop, whatever, right? And say you highlight over it, you can see square footage and verticals. Getting over into here, this is the meat and potatoes, right? All these little colors, all these little dots. And the good thing about all of this for anybody watching, I don't carry those colors, I don't carry that material, I don't carry this, I don't carry that. This is all customizable. I mean, if you're trying to figure out how many bags of fertilizer you need to go out and fertilize 20 acres, if you know how much is supposed to go down per so much, like this, 14 granules go down per square foot or whatever. I mean, you know what I mean? It's customizable enough. We can set this up. We can set it up for epoxy metallics. We can set it up for polyaspartics, polyureas, you know what I mean? Flake floors galore. If you're doing systems that don't have top coats, you're just throwing down, just an epoxy, anything that you're going to be buying bulk and then applying, but I'm not buying a kit and then putting a kit down. I'm buying in bulk.
Yep.
Because I'm a professional. I'm buying in bulk. And sorry,
you said it.
I'm buying in bulk and I'm putting it down. Because I mean, even if we buy like what 3 gallon metallic epoxy kit, it's still bulk. You don't have to use the whole thing, right? You've got your gallons, and that's my point. I'm just saying you're not going to Lowe's or Home Depot ripping open a box off the shelf and mashing your bags, and then so point is this is all customizable and it's easy to track. We've got limits. That's what these green, yellow, and red circles highlight. Green means, hey man, we're good to go. We've got plenty. We will even have plenty once this job is finished. So if we go over on product or we have a screw up, we don't even have to worry about it because there's plenty, right? And this is all representative of what is on hand at your location, not what needs to be received in. This is what we have on hand in the shop. Yellow means, hey, it's getting a little bit low. need to start paying attention to it, but we can absolutely still finish that job. Okay. Red means that you will run out during the job. Okay. So obviously right here, something like this, this one right here, we would need to make sure that we have ordered base coat and received it by 11/17 to make sure and keep our production going the way we need it to go. And that is absolutely the key right there, is being able to, hey, I log into my system, I glance, I look for my first red dot, right? Everybody can find that red dot. I see that first red dot. I look over, I see the date of 11/17, and just know that whatever I need to order right now, that has to be here by then. And then you're always good. You know, I mean, as long as you plan ahead. If you wait till a day before the 17th and go, well, I need it here tomorrow, well, that's on you, right? But the great thing is anyone can key in this information. Anyone can add it to the system. Before I made this system, Pete, I'm not going to lie, I wouldn't let anybody handle anything to do with my inventory at all. Right? Because I was the only one that could guarantee that the math was correct, that the schedule was correct, everything was correct. With this system, I hardly ever touch it. I just open it up and look at my information, because I've got other people that can go in and put in the information, and they can take care of so much more of our inventory. It's like, man, not only are you freeing up the time of not having to pen and paper, but we're also freeing up the time of actually having to do it. This system can be taught, man. If it can be taught and you can show it to anybody, boom. You know what I mean? Like that's huge. And you can train someone that's not necessarily good at math. You can train someone that is not necessarily even comprehending how inventory is supposed to work, because now you're just plug and play all the information and it does all the work for you. So another thing that we've got going on, I'm going to see if I can move this little video screen just a second. We've got this toggle expanded view. So right now you're showing, you know, you've got base coat, you've got top coat. We can make this a little bit bigger and we can hit toggle expanded view. Now, when we come down to the red dot, we know specifically that we have plenty of our part B in stock. Specifically, what we're going to need is that gray high heat material, right? So being able to break it down and seeing it like that, but also being able to collapse it, so it's like, hey, this is much cleaner to look at. It's much simpler and just blow through it. This little section up here, total square foot, it's more of a being able to check and balance, like how much do we actually have on the books, right? We could have 50 jobs on the books, but if each job is only 100 square feet, then we can look at that number and know that we're not on pace for what we normally are. And after you use it for a while, you start really, like, I use that number all the time. Then we move into other systems. Like I say, we've got other systems. This one's honestly just throwing in here just to kind of show, but like, you've got your color, you've got your part A base coat, your part B base coat, and it's actually tracking your track bite or your additive, right? If I hover over it, it shows that for this job, this one says that I'm going to need a gallon of track bite to do all of my mixes. So yeah, it's 2,000 square feet.
Yep.
You know, so it's like when you're adding it in an ounce per quart. But anyway, the cool thing is you can customize it. So if you want it heavy, we can adjust it heavy. If you want it light, you can adjust it light. Or if you don't track it, then you just have a setup like this one. Then you go into shop floor. This is kind of where I know a lot of people get intimidated when they're new into the business or they haven't done a lot of these multi-step floors, right? Especially when you've got to add in the appropriate tent and doing all that. Well, something like this, being able to say, okay, we've got 1,000 square foot shop, and how much base coat am I going to need? Well, I'm going to need 2.42 gallons of part A. I'm going to need 1.21 gallons of B. Hey, I'm going to need 6 3/4 bags of sand. I'm sure suppliers have never heard the question, hey, how much sand am I going to need on 1,000 square foot, right?
Never.
Hey, I don't want to have to remember that information. That's why I love it being here, right? Because it's like, hey, I'm an idiot. How much more sand do I need? Because I can't remember that it's a pound per 3 square feet, right? Well, the great thing is, since it's in here, you don't have to remember, hey, this is how much sand we need, bare minimum. So just have more than that and be covered. Then it's breaking down into your first layer of top coat, A and B, second layer top coat, A and B, and your tint for the entire job.
Wow.
Done. You know what I mean? That right there, that's one of the things that I super love about this system is not only can you sit here and look at it and have it set up like this to where it's like, man, I don't want to do all the brain power to go through all the steps, spend an hour on the phone with my supplier trying to figure out what we're going to need, and then having to trust. And it's no offense, it's just having to put my trust and faith in somebody else that they're doing their math correctly, because I don't know.
Right.
You know what I mean? We get it established, you make it to where it's all covered. And then the great part too is I can come in and input a job. And yes, it goes into the system, but you notice like this one, I've got it not scheduled, right? So it's at the end of the list. I can come in and I can type in a job into this system out in the field, as long as I've got internet. And now if I'm trying to do a bid, okay, this is how much I'm going to need of this. This is how much I'm going to need of this. We don't sell these often, so we don't necessarily have a price point, but I know these are my base numbers. Right? Is it going to be a stock color tint that's maybe not as expensive? Is it going to be a custom color tint that's going to be more? But I've got my base numbers. So now all I'm having to do is multiply this by dollar signs. You know, so it helps speed everything up if it's used in that way. And then if you ready to take it off and not have it in your inventory, just remove the job and go on with life.
Yeah. And I want to elaborate on this. So like if we kind of, look at that or go back to flake floors, because that's most common, right? Or you have the most of those jobs there. Okay. So again, this doesn't matter if you're using my material or any distributor's material. When somebody signs up with Fortify and Rook, you're going to be able to build this system to their flake colors, their base coat, their top coat, right? Now what I'm getting at is the coverage rate, right? Because my coverage might be a little different from somebody else's and blah, 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 right? So when you build that,
absolutely,
that's where those numbers are coming from. So if you hovered over that she shed and it says you need 2 gallons of base coat or 4 boxes of top coat, right? 0.67 gallons of A side. Okay. So that number is coming off what they told you their square foot coverage is, correct?
Absolutely. So it's very, very important in this industry, right? Like if we have everybody that I've spoken with, generally, unless you're in Dallas, Fort Worth, like us, the concrete is all over the place. It's terrible. It's hard. It's soft. It's whatever. It doesn't really have any consistency of the stuff that's been poured over the past 5 years. But what I've noticed is a lot of my clients that I talk with that are using the system across the country, right? You have certain areas, certain cities that they're consistently, Austin, they're always running about a 2 or 3 on the Mohs hardness scale, right? Super soft concrete. So they're going to use more base coat, for instance, their primer coat. They've got to put it down, and it's going to start just sucking it down into the concrete because it's so freaking porous. Well, their numbers, instead of, hey, we're not going to be at 300 square foot per gallon, we're going to be 225. Okay. Well, what if you wanted to be, say you're at 225, but you like to run a 10% buffer? We can knock it down and have it down at around 200, 205 square feet per gallon. Now you've got your coverage rate and your buffer, and it's cool because, it's like, it's already there. Right. You know what I mean? It's already built in. Now, if you make a massive order for 100,000 square feet, remember that buffer is in there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like maybe we want to tighten down and only have 5% overage because we're good at what we do and we know how this is going to pan out, and our guys don't waste a lot, right? But yeah, being able to make that happen is fantastic. Plus, I've had some other people ask me about, like say the names on all of these things. So you got peppercorn here, and then you've got the gray high heat A, base part B. You can, if you needed to add in SKU numbers or anything like that, whatever. I mean, if you want me to put, gray, I don't know, gray Nike shoes color, stupid,
fully customizable
whatever
to
you
whatever
want to
they
put
want.
in, all it is a field, right? We just type it in. So however you want to reference it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's awesome for me running a coating company, because you can just open it up if everybody's doing what they're doing and inventory is being counted correctly. And we'll get into that in a little bit. If inventory is being counted correctly, then all you got to do is open it up and go, hey, we're good. Or, okay, so
right.
We got to make something happen today. Right.
Yeah.
And then you just move on. And that's the beauty of it, is that within 5 seconds of it loading up, you know where you are,
Right.
Instead of walking out there and looking. And I can't tell you how many times, like, I'm the guy in the area that everybody, whenever they are trying to get a job done and they're running out, they're coming to me. And I'm okay with being that guy. Like, I'm not saying that like, hey, you're a terrible person. That has nothing to do with it. We get busy with life. We're out there working a lot. We're tired. Again, we're trying to be parents. We're trying to be brothers and sisters and husbands. And you know what I mean? Like, we're trying to be all these things, and we're all going to screw up, and that's okay. We're all going to screw up. But if you can reduce it by knowing, then it's so much better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just takes it off your shoulders.
And let's elaborate on that. Let's kind of walk through it a little bit, because you have salespeople, right? So you have people that are importing this information, right? So let's just start from the top. Michael, your salesman, goes and he sells Amazing Grace, and he sets his installation date for 11/9, and he sets his information. Amazing Grace is now going to be whatever it was, 500 square feet, doesn't matter. When he puts in, if they're perfect, 500 square feet, when he puts in 500 square feet and the color, it automatically calculates everything for you. So essentially, you as a business owner, you're not touching this. You're supervising, because you have to look at what it is. But realistically, your people are entering this, and then the system is doing it correctly. So how does that look like in the real world?
Okay, so down here, we're going to skip the customer section, because for like during a walkthrough, I'll go through it. But for right now, we've made some shortcuts. So we come down here to the jobs tab, and whenever you want to add a new job, so you notice this screen looks quite a bit different from the dashboard, right? Your little color markers have gone away, and the interface looks totally different. And the reason for all that is because we wanted, you're looking at your jobs. Hey man, Amazing Grace called in and she's got an emergency, right? Because that never happens. She's got an emergency and she wants to go move her job in 3 weeks. Well, we want to be able to just look at our job schedule right here, move it down 3 weeks, save that information. And then like when you come back to the dashboard and you look, she's gone.
You move 12 down. 12.
Yeah, there she is right there. So
wow,
she's moved. And look, now, even though we had all of the right stuff to get her job done, you notice now we don't.
Everything's changed because it moved jobs up.
So it moved jobs up and it redistributed your inventory just like that, to be able to, hey, we've got to rework our schedule. I mean, how many times have you had a time where, we do a lot of patios and driveways and outdoor work, and then you have a cold front come through and you've got a week worth of outdoor work on the board, but the rain comes through, and when the rain comes through, it's like you have a day to shift and move, and you're moving all the shops and the garages and everything. You're moving those up. You're moving those up, and you're moving all of the outdoor stuff out, right? Because one thing down here in Texas, we have a lot of, is it going to rain today? Yes, it's going to rain, but it's going to rain for like 5 to 10 minutes, and it's going to punch you in the mouth, and then it's moving on down the road so you can still work. So it's like, being able to go in on the fly and just being able to rework your entire schedule like that super quick, hit a save button and move on with life. Why not?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You can also do it where if you're going through and double checking all your colors, you've just got drop down menus. So you let them pick out whatever the flake color they need. They called back and they said, hey, we don't really like, we thought we were going to go with earth tone color, but we've really decided in the garage, we want to go with that domino color, right? Because it just is going to look really sharp, and we're going to change the way we're painting the walls. So they call in, you say, okay, we're doing domino. Look what it did to my base coat. I can't use tan base coat with domino. So it bumps it out, and it requires me to go back and look. I can only select the colors that are specific to that flake color. Again, trying to reduce human error, right? Like that's the goal of this entire thing, is trying to force it to where you can screw up, but we're trying to make it where you shouldn't be able to.
Right.
So say we come back in, we put in summer base coat on that one. Top coat doesn't matter because same top coat goes over everything, but it's recalculated everything. We go ahead and hit save, and then we go back to our dashboard and look. See, it's already changed everything, and it's readapted. So see, now look right here on the 17th for John Smith. Now we're going to be short on domino for his job, but we know now,
right?
So we can start making adjustments.
Right.
This is also a really good way of, if you ever have sales guy calls in, hey man, I've got this guy, but he has to go this Thursday. We have to be able to get him done this Thursday. We'll be able to go in and add a job with the customer, even just as a filler space within the system. You can throw him up in line, and not only are you going to see, do we have enough material to do him? To me, more importantly, that's great information, right? But more importantly, it's the follow-up of, how is it going to affect everyone else I have already promised that has been waiting in line and has been waiting patiently for their job?
Right.
Because to me, if they got on the schedule and they're flowing through everything, I understand people have time needs, but they've already been promised their install dates, right? So if we're going to screw up inventory and we're not going to have enough stuff to get both jobs done, maybe that affects my decision. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe I just rush order something, but having that immediate information and knowing whether or not you can handle it, again, right? It's just awesome. I know how it's going to affect my entire schedule. So adding a job, back to this. Whenever you come through here and you want to add a new job, you can just hit the new job button. If you've got a system that has automatically imported customer data over into the system, which, to be fair, it's all in beta right now. We're working on learning how to do that, because who wants to enter information twice? And I get that. And again, we're trying to save time. But the good news is looking at this first area with all the customer information, it's not all required. So it's like, if you're already keeping track of addresses, phone numbers, emails, and all that crap somewhere else, you don't have to do it here. You just need their name, their job label, so you know which job you're referring to. But say, for instance, we just wanted to add a customer that's already in the database. You just start typing, see it pre-populates. So we're going to go here with John Wick. As soon as I select him, it goes ahead and fills in all the information we have for him in the system. If I were to go back, oh no, it wasn't John, it was Joseph Phillips. see all the information we have in the system, goes ahead and fills out his entire, information for the address, email, phone. Once it's in there, if you go to type it in and be like, hey, we're going to go in for, Pete's not in here, we can just go ahead and hit this button right here, fill out his information, hit save, and move on with life.
Stores it then in there.
Yep. And so then it would become in that list like that.
Yep.
So we've learned a lot from the beginning. In the beginning, it was like, okay, this was bad. So we've, streamlining, again, everything's a process, right?
That's what you do. You learn as you go.
That's right. So if you want to keep notes on this customer, you can. No one will ever see it unless they're in the system. And then if you come down here to the job details, just be like, hey, we don't have an install date for it yet. It just got sold. I've got pending, in progress, and complete. Pending is usually what I just use, like when I'm bidding out something, trying to squeeze it in. But this job, say it's sold, it's in progress. Let's say it's a 1,500 square foot. We didn't label that up here. Say it's a shop, 1,500 square foot. I like shops that have no verticals.
Right.
And we'll say it's got 20, right? Because it's got a garage door on it. It's got the front lip. We're going to do that. Then we're going to come down here and we're going to select whichever option that they picked, right? So it's nice because at this point it's like, well, what did they get? Well, we're going to say that they got, for this one, just because it's got more options built in, say we've got a flake floor, whatever color they got, we'll do Timberwolf. Then all you have to do, see, it's like it's determining based on the color. Okay, we're going to do a gray base coat. Now all we have to do is pick what temperature we want. Say we're going to do a summer blend, and we're going to do a summer blend on the top coat. And then you're looking back through and you're like, okay, yeah, Timberwolf. Oh no, he didn't want Timberwolf. He wanted, which one am I looking for?
Oil,
say peppercorn.
Yep.
So it kicks us out because we have this system set up so that it's a blend of tan and gray. So now you've got the tan and gray, right? So you look, when we select that one, it's going to be pulling individually from both inventory counts of just the tan and of just the gray. So that's pretty nice. Down here, notes for install. Anything that you want your installers that are going to be assigned to this job to see, you can put in here. Front lip included, but not the apron. And just hit save. Now, when we go back to the dashboard, down here at the very bottom in the not scheduled, we've got our shop. We've got summer tan, summer gray, and we've also got the summer top coat, and it's in there, right? And when you don't select the date, it says not scheduled. When you're ready to put a date on there, you can just go back to your jobs and we're working our schedule. Select it. Let's throw it up on Monday and see if we can actually get this job done on Monday. Okay, we're good on material, except we need
like
inventory says we got 3 boxes. So now we've got to be on the hunt for 4 more boxes of flake. We can make it happen.
Yep. That's huge. And again, that's the salesperson or salesperson realistically doing a lot of that work for you or for it, right? I mean, they're the ones entering that information at the time of sale, basically.
They can. The way that we work it is Katie that answers the phones here for me. She does a lot for me. She keeps me straight. Right. She works a lot with the schedule. She works a lot with a lot of different things. So if it's sold with it, well, it doesn't matter. When our guys turn in their paperwork for their sales paperwork, it's all digital now, but when they turn that in, she starts tracking it through a system. And when she tracks it through the system, she double checks all of their paperwork to make sure it makes sense and it's all right. And then she goes ahead and just opens this up and just throws them in the calendar, just types in their information real quick, things like that.
Okay, cool. But again,
but anybody can do it that you trust.
Right. Even that's where it frees you up, say, as a business owner, that you're not micromanaging this shit. You're not in the warehouse counting it.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Exactly. Time is money.
It's like I'm paranoid, so I'll go back and I'll double check, once a month or something and check and make sure. But no, not all the time. I mean, people are one of the things like to get back on or to get onto kind of a positive note. Because I know that's what we want to try to be, right? We don't want to be angry and miserable. We want to be happy. People, as much as they screw up, because we did, right? On our journey, we still do. But people are capable. They just need to be able to have the tools to accomplish the job.
Yeah.
And that's what this is doing, right? It's like you're putting a tool of something that if you're trying to do all of this, what this is doing on paper, one, good luck. And I hope it works out for you, because I've done it and it sucks. And not only does it suck, but it sucks bad. Hey guys, leave me alone. I'm about to lose the next 3 to 4 hours of my life breaking everything down, putting it back in order. Literally, when we just adjusted that one date, we added a new job and then threw it up in the front of the schedule. Now I'm going to spend the next 3 hours. Why? Because I don't have all of this all the information has changed. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's all changed. And so it's like, unless you're carrying $200,000 worth of inventory in your shop and you don't care because you've got way too much of everything and it's just going to go bad on your shelves by the time you get to it.
Well, let's break that down. Okay. So let's talk about that. We got the jobs, we get all that. Two other things. I'm going to follow it up because of how I see it through the process, right? You enter the jobs, you got all this, you do the inventory. And how does it get to the installer, right? So like now you're going to go run this job. What does it look like from an installer standpoint? How easy does it make it for the installers?
Okay. So for the installers, so whenever we go in here and we look, you have the ability whenever you're creating a job, or you can go back in here and edit a job. So like this one, this is the job breakdown, right? As soon as you create the job and you put in all of this information, you hit save, it's going to come up here and it's going to give you this material box. This material box, we've got a slide counter or a slide button on it. So you can either show this is all rounded up to the nearest gallon or the nearest box, or you can hit this button. It's going to show you exactly what the calculation is supposed to be. So what we do with that is one of two options, right? You can either say, I want to know what the numbers are exact. And then I'll tell my guys, you're grabbing whatever the system's telling you plus X, right? So you've got extra for anything that's going to happen, or you can build in that extra, but just understand that you could potentially be ordering more because you're adjusting and affecting coverage rates. But right down here below it, you see this crew section. One thing I like about the crew section is I've noticed it doesn't matter, if you've got multiple salespeople, if they can see the entire sales calendar coming up, one of them's complaining because the other one got the better leads and blah, 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 right? Like it always happens. Well, it's the same thing with installers, right? Oh, well, they get to install, and it's always the dream job. It's right. It's always, well, they got the dream job and they're going to make more money, bam, 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 whatever. They're going to get home early. With this section, with the crew section, it only shows the crews the jobs that are assigned to them. So you can actually come in and add crews. Like right here, you can see I've got 4 different crews available. You notice on a couple of them, like here's Bill and James. This is Bill, James, and Megan. Well, it's still Bill and James, but if you've got where you split your people up and they run with different groups, you can have it set to where you can adjust it down to whoever you want to go. And those are the only people that are going to see that information. So once you assign it to them, they actually get, can you see that screen okay, Pete?
Yep, absolutely.
All right. So they get a screen that looks like this. Now I've got the window shaped like this and pulled down like this because it's going to be very similar to our guys use it on a phone.
Mobile.
Yeah. They don't, they don't have an iPad. They don't need a computer. They don't need that crap. They can pull it up from anywhere. So the jobs that are assigned to them, it shows them the install date. So they know, one, hey, we've got jobs coming up. This is what's on the board. So I don't have to ask you 15 times a day how many jobs we have coming up, right? Like that's a big thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we all want to let them know, but at the same time, it's like, dude, like you have work, you know what I mean? But it inspires confidence with them when they can just look and see, man, I've got 15,000 square feet on my schedule.
Yeah.
You know, and it's also got the customer names, it's got the labels. And then when they come in and they want to look at their job, they hit view. They can't change any of this information. So it's like handing them a document, right? It's got, if you've got all the information put in, they're going to have the name, they're going to have what the job is, the full address, if you've input that, install date, square footage, verticals. Hey, we're doing a flake floor. It's a peppercorn flake floor. It's going to have, you know, they've got it adjusted for us to take the high heat base coat and the high heat top coat. There's no notes written on this one. Could be if you wanted, but then you get down here and it's just like, hey, you know, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. We're throwing stuff in the back of a trailer. Now we have a list of exactly what we need to make sure and grab.
Yeah.
We need
Wow.
3 boxes of flake. We need, you know, 2 gallons, part A, part B of top coat, and we need at least 1 gallon of gray, tan, and part B. Done. Win.
Done. Yeah.
You know, and if you teach them to collect or to load up a little bit extra, then hey man, whatever it says on that list, and you grab just a little bit extra, whatever your little bit is, right? Another gallon, spare kit, whatever it is you've got. Then you don't have that phone call at 11 o'clock in the morning. Hey, can you run some stuff out to the job?
Seen it, been it, done it.
It happens, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you can see by watching this video how paranoid and how like in depth I am with my inventory, and I always have been, right? The day that I actually had to run material out to a guy, and I was like, do you know how much money I've spent to make it so that you know exactly how much to take and what to take? You know what I mean? It's like, bro, you embarrass me. No.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
But no, it's a great way to just be able, again, right? It's just quick. Instead of the guys showing up and going, okay, I've got 1,200 square foot. I'm going to need, it just get past all that. They open it up, they click it. I mean, like we were talking about, right? You were mentioning sales guys being able to put in customer information, or an office manager, as we do in our case. Somebody is putting in the information. Now you've got helpers with access to a list, and they can pull all the material and put it in the trailer without having to be a complete genius.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you're adding so much value and so much stability, instead of having to say every day this one lead has to make sure they pull every single thing. If you can get them to understand, now getting them to understand how much a gallon is in a 5-gallon bucket, that's a whole different story. Sorry, I'm working on a solution for that one. I mean, I know we can do, some people use scales and weights and figure all that out. That's one thing we're hoping to bring into the system at one point. But it's not there yet. The other thing that I really want to be able to do is that will be very beneficial to me, as a business owner, is to be able to run reports on all of this and to be able to enter in the information. So this is what it was supposed to use, right? The installers track how much they did use. This is what was supposed to be used. This is what was used. And where's the variance?
Right.
Because we all want to know.
Yep.
You know, we all want to know, where's that material going?
Yeah, of course. Because I mean, that's your cost per square foot, right? And I just want to elaborate on that too. So if we look at the bottom of that screen right there, that says a gallon of each product, right? So yeah, it's 3 gallons of product going to complete that floor. Sure. But again, 99% of what people are doing and using is everything, for the most part, is in 5-gallon buckets. Knowing what a gallon is in a 5, naturally, that's going to take some time. But again, as long as your bucket of gray and tan is well over half full, again, bring extra. You're not going to have that problem. And again, it says 2 gallons of top coat each. That's 4 gallons total. If you bring a 10-gallon kit per se, you have plenty.
And it's without question, right? It's like, you're done. I mean, I hate to say this because nobody wants to do this, but I've seen it happen before. Somebody's mixing and they're hot and they're tired and it's been that week, right? And you're exhausted and you're mixing and you turn to grab something and you turn back and it's spilled. Well, you know how much you needed, you know how much is left. You can know if you are in trouble and somebody needs to run you something at that point, or if you're covered. It happened. Let's move forward instead of going, oh, I don't know. Let's move forward. Let's just knock it out.
Yeah. So every installer, or I mean, your crews see your jobs, they pull everything like that. So now on the true inventory / ordering supplies, right? Like when you have to manage it per se, refill it, stuff like that. What does that look like for entering inventory in? How are you adding inventory in? How is it taking it out, I guess, maybe? I guess just kind of elaborate on all that and all the way through kind of like ordering, right? Like when and how does it order?
Sure. So what we've got right here is this is our inventory tab over here on the left. Everything is divided into base coats, top coats, colors, and then you've got miscellaneous items. For the most part, most people just use the miscellaneous item section for orders, not really to track inventory, right? Because hey, I got 3 million 3-inch chip brushes. Nobody's out there counting them. If they are, good for you, man. You've beat me. I don't have time. I can't. We're going through them. It sucks. I wish I could track them, but I can't. But like putty knives, mixing buckets,
rollers,
just it's there so that, and I'll show you here in a minute when we go to make an order, it's there so that you can add it onto the order sheet easily. As far as the things that we know how much we should be using, flake colors, base coats, top coats, it's right here. And so what we've got is, you can look at this, each screen is going to have the same kind of layout. Okay. You've got total needed. Well, you've got product name, total needed. This is important. It's for every job that's entered in.
And that's in the progress, essentially. You've entered it in, and that's where it's calculating based off the coverage rate. That's what it's telling you. It needs 16 gallons of gray summer to complete what you've already entered in.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So if it's on this dashboard, it's calculating, hey, these are jobs and we need material for them.
Right.
So it's going to figure total needed. This is where you're going to actually track where your inventory is at. Okay. This is going to be anything that's on order. So when you create an order, it's going to fill in here, and then need to order, it's going to adjust total needed minus total on hand minus what's on order. So you're not double ordering things, right? Now it may still say, hey, you need this, but that might be because it's on the way and it's not getting here till Monday. Right. But here's what it says you need to order. So you look, it's like 10 gallons of this, 7 gallons, 19 gallons. And you come look at the top coats. Hey, we need 38 gallons, 6 gallons, 54 gallons. Colors, same way. You've got all your colors. The great thing about these this is a simple list. But if you run 1/8 inch, 16th inch flake, you run any of the blends, right? You run anything like that, we can add it in and adjust it. We just need to know the coverage rate that you want to put it down at. So you've got total needed. Again, you're on hand. Now, say for basalt, say we went out there and we received in 2 boxes, you can either just uptick it to, or you can actually physically just type in the number that you want to do. 0 boxes, need to order 5 boxes. that will update once we hit save, since we changed that. So see, now it's 3 instead of 5.
Yep.
So what would happen from this point is, hey, you go do an accurate inventory count first, right? That's key. Once you've done an accurate inventory count, because this system can account for a lot of things, but what I cannot predict yet, and I don't even know if I'd be able to, but what I can't predict is how much flake are you going to recover when each different individual crew across the world scrapes and reclaims. You know, are you going to reclaim 10%? Are you going to reclaim 50%? I mean, I don't know what you're broadcasting, you know what I mean? So it's like, that's one thing that we can't predict. So specifically doing inventory once a week, and you should be tracking your stuff anyway, but do your inventory once a week. If you do your inventory once a week, then what it's going to do is it's going to readjust your numbers and get you back to center as far as your flake is concerned. The other thing it's going to do is you're going to know if you're missing a kit of product. You're going to know, you know, hey, we counted this last week and this is, we haven't noticed any variations, but now all of a sudden, why do I have exactly 10 gallons of top coat missing and exactly 5 gallons of base coat missing and 1 box of flake? No, but none of us want to ever have to worry about that. But it's nice knowing that if it ever pops in your head, you don't have to worry about it because your numbers are tracking and presenting themselves, and they have once a week, right? So say that we've done inventory. This right here, this is a nice little tracker because it counts and it tells you when the last time you actually updated inventory was. So say whenever you come in and you adjust these numbers, which I did adjust the basalt, and then I go away from inventory. I don't know why it does this. Let's see. Oh, maybe I didn't hit save on it. Anyway, the point being, this adjusts whenever you come through and adjust all your numbers and save it. Let's get it saved. It's updated successfully. Of course, you know, anytime we do a video call is when it always, there we go. I just refreshed it. So now it's showing 0 days, right? So the further this gets away from center, the whole point of it is the further it gets away from center, the more off you have a potential for your inventory to be, right? They've used incorrect amounts. They've reclaimed, they've done this, they've done that. Once you get to this point, we have a section to where we can input, like if you have vendors for different products, you can select which vendor you're going to be ordering from. And then you can hit create order. As soon as I hit create order, it's going to populate a new screen. Say we're going to order this today. Currently right now it's pending because I haven't sent it. Let me just go ahead and hit save because this is important, right? So it's pending, but because you're already starting to make an order, it's going to go ahead and show you that it's on order, right? So it's just like, hey, flag. But we go back to our order and you look at this, and right now it's showing that estimated based on sizes, what you can fit on pallet, you're estimating that you're going to have to do almost a pallet and a half to get what you need. You look down here, everything's been rounded up into 5-gallon increments because we're ordering bulk at 5 gallons per pail. And it broke everything down that we're going to need for all the jobs that are on the books currently. If you needed to add anything, like I was saying, you know, if you needed to add anything, you just come down here, you select, hey, we needed some 18-inch roller covers. We need 10 boxes of them, add them on there. They're right in there. That way it'll add to the sheet. The way we've got it set up right now is once you've got all of your information in, if you needed to have any notes to your supplier, I need this by I need this, geez, within 2 weeks. If I could top today, that'd be amazing, but I can't. So, hey, I need this within 2 weeks. Now we hit download PDF, and this is what it's going to produce. So you can just email this in to your supplier. So it's got the vendor up top, your company name would be listed here. You've got the order date. It's very clean and it's kind of large. It's like, I like having it big like this because then I can print one of these out. And whenever my guys receive it in, it's easy for them to read it out in the shop, highlight it, check it off with a pen, whatever they got to do, circle it, make notes. And then if it runs into a second page, you can see all the information the same up here. It just carries on. Everything's listed in quarts that it are in quarts and quantities that it can be ordered in. It's just, again, just trying to make your life easier. So what we do with this is we just email this in. Here's our order. I don't have any interaction with, the dealers that are starting to come in, get where you can get on their websites and order electronically. But even if you're ordering electronically, now you have a clear-cut list of what you need to order when you get on there to make your order.
Right.
That's the goal. We're just trying to have accuracy, cut your time down, be able to train people to actually do this for you. Now, if we go back and we look at our inventory, our need to order is all down to 0, right? But if we go to our dashboard and you look, we're still in trouble. That way, that just because you made an order, the system doesn't think that it's in there. Now, once you receive said order, this is the part I love.
Yeah.
If you receive it and everything that you ordered is on that pallet, comes in on that shipment, you come up, you hit the fulfill button, you go back to your inventory and you look, we've got nothing on order, nothing needed. It updated all the counts of everything that we ordered into the system. You go back to your dashboard, no red.
Wow.
So
yeah. I want to elaborate on that because, I mean, the amount of knowledge really for teaching purposes is very limited. You don't got to teach somebody rocket science to get this. Okay. So then they enter everything in from the sales guys. Installers got their thing. And even if you go back to inventory, realistically, all you have to do is when you receive your pallet is click one button, right? You check it in, right? You check it in 100%.
Yep.
What you ordered was received, right? You just click one button and it automatically does everything for you. You're not having to go in and say, it was 5 gallons of base coat. We got 5 more, five, click, right? You don't got to enter in 5 to 10. It automatically did it for you.
And when we go back to orders, because you fulfilled the order, it's not here anymore. Now, to be, if you needed, you've got this button, you can go back and you can look at past orders.
Yep.
But it just, like I said, just trying to make it quick, short, to the point.
Yeah. And if you can go back to that order sheet, again, no, the actual order, that the downloaded PDF.
Let me move this.
So as a supplier, as somebody who has customers, a lot of customers who utilize this, again, from our standpoint, this is as cut and dry, easy as they come. So how this works on my end is we literally just get an email from, say, Cory, and it has this PDF, order attached, basically, whatever it is. And there's no details, there's no questions for the most part in the email, unless it's just for fun or needed, because when the order form comes in, Amber, Miguel, or whoever it is on our team or any team that's processing this can look, and it is clear as day. It says base coat. It literally is built for my product, not this one per se, but he will build it so it works with your products, right? Your name. So there's no questioning when one of our CSRs is looking at that, what that line item is, and it's 15 gallons. It is clean as possible. And if you go to the bottom where it says notes, that's where all the details are actually at. So the details aren't on the email that might get separated from the order. Okay. I want to emphasize that. So you could put that in an email that says, hey, I need that in 2 weeks. there might be a chance that your customer service just hits print and doesn't read the email. But if they're reading the order and they're translating that, say, from a paper copy to QuickBooks, there's no way they're going to mix that. And a lot of times we do have that residential delivery, hold that dock, need in 2 weeks. I need the pallet to arrive here, expedite 1 box of peppercorn. There's details that are in those notes that will tell our reps, I guess, what you want to say, that there's no questions asked. I know for us and our team, we email you back confirmation. Hey, we got it. We'll make sure we get all this. And we highlight the notes, right? So, yep, Cory, you need this within 2 weeks. We're good to go. It is as clean as simple from a supplier standpoint that I personally have ever dealt with. There's my soapbox.
Love it. I mean, because that's the whole thing, right? It's like, okay, so it helps my supplier. Why is that important to me as a dealer? Well, it's important to you because, again, the amount of steps from the time you make a sale to the time you receive your product loaded up to take it to that job to go install it, the amount of hands it passes through between you, your people, then emailing it over to your supplier, then they've got to go through all their steps, right? And then it gets ordered, and then you've got to confirm it. Like the amount of times for the information to change and be interpreted incorrectly, it's honestly, it's insane. The fact that we ever get anything done correctly is kind of surprising when you look at it that way, right? But somehow we're always pissed off when it doesn't get done correctly. So that's one thing that, again, right, I'm big on making things to where it's going to happen. It's repeatable, right? It's going to happen the same way every time, as often as possible. And the fact that, because I remember when I started sending these in, I was like, what do you guys think? Is it clear? Is it okay? Is it like, you know what I mean? It's like, is it gonna work the way that you need it to work for you? Because if it's not going to work the way it needs to work for you, then there's no sense in even sending these things in, right?
Yeah.
To make me and my company more reliable, my vendors have to have a way to be more reliable. And it's not, I mean, it's just the way it works, right? Like my installers need to have a way that's reliable to make sure they have exactly the right amount to take with them. My math needs to be correct so that we're ordering correctly and we're taking the right amount. Like there's just, I don't know. It's just, stability is amazing. Like it takes a huge stress off of your shoulders. You're not worrying all the time about, are we going to be okay today? Hey, we walked in on Monday and I swear to God, I thought that there was plenty of stuff out there on Friday. And then you come back in on Monday and you look and it's like, well, there's plenty of stuff, but it's either the wrong size of flake, right? Or it's the wrong color of base coat, or it's the wrong speed of top coat. And you thought that it was there, but you were tired. Why? Because you're working your butt off. You're out there trying to make a living, and you were just glancing and you're like, man, I just want to go home. Yeah, it looks good. We should be fine. Well, then you come in next week and because of temperature constraints, you come in on Monday, you go to grab it. And what you thought you had was you were looking at the wrong stack, and it would suck to do that. But you thought you were looking at this speed and you were looking at this one. And now not only do I not have enough for Monday, but that means that I don't have it for Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday or Friday. And I don't want to lose this week. Right.
Yeah.
So having the opportunity for me, which is the whole reason I started making this thing to begin with, was I know I'm going to be too tired and I'm going to screw up and I need help and I need a way that's going to just not break, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to kind of we're going to wrap it up, but we're going to kind of just touch on a recap, I guess, real quick on 3 main things. So we look at efficiency and time management. This is multiple hands that it's going to be saving. So what I mean by that is if you're the owner of a company and you have somebody kind of helping you out with this in sales and maybe an office personnel that's helping you putting a lot of this in, you are being saved time. You're right. You're working on, not in. Okay. Awesome. It's also telling as a dashboard from the salesperson of, hey, what have they sold? What do they all have going on? Did Chris Doe, did he call and like, oh, now you got a dashboard. You can go back and see everything from his actual job. Oh, sales guys, how many square foot did you sell this month? You've sold 22,943,000 square feet, or whatever that is. And then again, all the way down to the installer, his job is being simplified. So there's no error, technically. I mean, realistically, hopefully, all the way down. So we're streamlining everybody's process. And if we look back from a business owner standpoint, that all comes to labor cost, labor savings. We didn't even talk about shipping savings. You saw real quick about 1.4 pallets. If you have a pallet and a half and you maybe want to boost your order to 2 pallets, realistically, that second half of pallet shipping cost is going to be the exact same. And that's why that's even built into there. So I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to let Cory elaborate on that when you guys have your one-on-one calls with Cory. And then again, my third point is from a distributor standpoint, just the ease of application on our side. Like, I love to talk to you guys. I love to be able to work through projects and teach you guys all that type of stuff and make sure you know all that. But it's easier when everything is streamlined and orders come in and we handle it flawlessly. You get the invoice correct the first time. It's paid, it ships, you receive everything, it's entered in. There's no questions asked until the next order needs to be handled. And it's one of those things, guys, that when you look at from the top to the bottom, everything is streamlined. And I know Cory can talk about this for hours and days, and it's way more in depth than what we've even shown. It can get way more, I'm not even say complicated. It can just get a lot more detailed and customized. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. Customized. Because again, names and vendors, and if you're doing flake floors, shop floors, and then metallic floors, then you get into sealers or overlays. And again, that's another point. Yes, this is for the coatings industry right now. But as Cory said at the beginning, if you're doing seal coating, if you're doing lawn mulch, if you need to figure out how much grass seed goes on 5 acres, if you know your coverage rate per pound or whatever you want to call it, it's the system that's built for that. If you work in square footage in any way, shape, or form, or probably even lineal foot, right? Putting Christmas lights on a house, you could say there's 4 bulbs per lineal foot, whatever that is. You got to enter that in. It's a mathematical equation based off of square footage or the work that you need to do. This is not just for our industry. So this is complex. So guys, I want to make sure that you guys get a hold of Cory. You set up a demo with this, because the fastest way to grow your company is to streamline it, and set up systems and processes that can be repeated from anybody within your company. If you are the only one that are reliable, because like Cory said, I'm the only one that would touch that inventory. Well, now Michael or any of his guys can't do that because Cory's working in. When he wants to grow, he's got to get out of that. This is the fastest way to allow somebody else to do the same shit that you were doing, but in a way that eliminates a lot of the errors. And when you're going to multiply, or if you're looking to exit your business, you need to have those systems and processes in place. So if you stepped out for a week and you go be that husband, father, wife, brother, son that you need to be, somebody else is managing this and your business doesn't fall apart. So guys, thanks again, Cory. Where can they find this and where can they find you?
So they can find the website for the system. It is FortifyRS.com. That's FORTIFY, the letter R, the letter S.com. It's just Fortify by Rook Systems is what it stands for. There's a way on there to fill out a form and get in touch with me to get a free demo of the system. And then, you know, you can always reach out to me on Facebook, Cory Pollard. You can search me out, shoot me a message. Just let me know what it's in reference to. Obviously, we get a lot of different people reaching out, and then, you know, I mean, just we're around. We want to help people get time back, and you know, it's just, I think it's a super cool system. It's pretty simple. I'm sure it could be a little more graphically like, woo, but who cares? Because it's doing the job. It's getting to the point, and it's like I said, it's a lot of get in, get out, right?
Yeah.
Efficiency. And it seems to be doing it in an effective way. Oh, Pete, we added in another, I don't know if I got to show you yet, but we added in another feature to where we actually, when we're doing our jobs, like when you complete a job,
Okay.
it will automatically deduct that out of your inventory. So you're not having to go back and check. But when you do your reconciling once a week and straightening everything back up, it's really pretty cool when you know your guys are on point, because you go back and you go do your counts once a week, and it's reduced your inventory to the point, and you go back and you look and it's like, man, I don't have to change this number. I don't have to change this number. I don't have to change this one. So we're gonna try to grow it, expand it. Obviously the more popular it becomes, the more money we have to put back into the system to do all the cool features. Every time I speak with someone, they've got a new cool feature, and I love it. And if it can help the masses, then we absolutely want to do that, right? That's what all this technology is for. If we can't spend more time with our families, man, by just getting to the point, getting it done and moving on, then what are we even doing?
Yeah, no, that's what it's all about. So guys, we got to utilize this type of technology as we keep going on. So Cory spent a lot of time and money developing this type of stuff. So reach out to Cory. The link for the website and Cory and other stuff is always down below into the description. So if you guys have any questions about that, click on that, fill out that contact us form. If you guys have any questions about that, obviously you can feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to talk to you guys about it as well from what I see it on my standpoint. But when you want to see the demo and to learn it from the man, you contact Cory. He's going to give you a full demo, and I promise you it is well worth the money, because it will 10x your time, and obviously time is money. So guys, with that, I'm going to wrap it up. It's a little bit longer of an episode, but this is very in depth. Again, all we're doing here is bringing you value and knowledge of how you can grow and streamline your business so you can be more profitable and spend more time on your business, of course, but more importantly, your family and your personal life, as with personal development and business leadership, so we can all learn to grow our companies for the long haul. So Cory, with that being said, thank you again for coming on. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you and your friendship, your customer, obviously, and then more importantly, in this aspect, developing something and actually providing value, right? Not holding on to it. The biggest thing that we see is somebody having a lot up here or whatever it is, and they're not sharing it, right? So when we're giving back, guys, that comes back tenfold. So yeah, there might be some money involved, but no matter what, when people share, you get a 10x return. So guys, with that, thanks again to Cory. This has been another amazing episode of Beyond the Crete podcast, guys. We're going to be coming back. We have a couple new people already lined up, super excited for bringing things to you guys. So if you guys have any questions, hit that description button, comment, hit the follow button, because we're bringing you a lot more knowledge in the near future. So with that, I appreciate you guys, and we will see you next time.